This is All Natural Ashley, and you're listening to the Three Count Podcast.
I'm in fashion, roll with cold passions.
Welcome everybody to another great edition of the Three Count Podcast presents Now Into Ring, and I'm your host, Clifford Red Dog Miller, the man that leads you up that mountain called wrestling. And by season 4, our 300 something episode, I would think that you would just say with me, I am your Sherpa. Because like your tribal chief, acknowledge me. But like every good Sherpa, you gotta have someone who's been there, done that, and can do it more efficiently than you can, and that's why it's never about me. It's about who's entering the ring. So who's entering the ring? Well, you can find this person at SWA, EWA, Route 33, MEW, VPW, NCW, ACW. You can find this person at PTPW. She is super talented, super stylish, very artistic, and she's known by many names. But today, she is known as All Natural Ashley.
Hi, thank you for that shining introduction. You know,
Hey.
you know my career better than I do.
Hey, but you know what? That's the thing, though. Like here at the Three Count Podcast, you got to do the research on your people. So if you don't know them, like, what are you really gonna do?
That is impressive, and I appreciate that because that does
You
not
know,
always happen.
I was gonna say, like every wrestling match, you gotta have that shine spot. You gotta shine your opponent up. Let them know, like, hey, this is the good look.
Yeah, for sure.
So
Yeah.
for those who don't know, for those who don't know who you are, who is All Natural Ashley?
All Natural Ashley. I've been dialing it in actually over the past year. I've been experimenting with 3 different gimmicks. One was a tortured artist. One was the wilderness girl, and the other one is actually the gimmick that I have been trying to do my entire career, but couldn't really quite figure out how to do it until recently and have everybody understand what it is. But it's a new aged spiritual hippie chick. And that is the one that I'm going to stick with.
It's something to be watching, right? So for like the last year, like I've gotten to know you like from EWA, SWA, right? Just like watching you work, like that I've watched you kind of like morph into all these different characters, and I find it very intriguing because like you've like each character that you've done, you've like embodied it like so well. Like I remember at one SWA show, you were the tortured artist, right? You were like very like, and like you like the switch you're able to flip. I was like, hey yo, and like screaming, getting carried out of the ring and out of the place that we were wrestling at. It was very fun to watch you just have fun being like expressive.
Oh man, you have me smiling ear to ear right now. I appreciate that. And I completely forgot that I did that. That was hilarious. I started screaming and I just knew I had to commit to it all the way through the curtain and behind. And yeah, it was a great moment.
Oh, it really was. I was laughing my ass off because I was like, damn. And then like, yeah, it's because like we've had conversations like, like with merch and stuff like that, just like having full on conversations and stuff. And it's like, it's very interesting to be able to pick your brain, right? And the one thing I loved watching you do, right? And this was something I brought to you at the last SWA show that we were together at, was like your ability to like sit down and like work with someone who's it's either their first or second match and just like guide them through the match. It was like, it's unmatched. Like I just have to be honest, like just to watch you like stay as patient as you are like in the ring with people, because you could get frustrated and you could be that person that like is a veteran and just like destroys a person in the ring, and no, it's not really doing anything for you, but whatever, you're just trying to get through it. But to watch you just talk to people because you know they're nervous and there's like first time in the ring and you're just like, hey yo, let me guide you, it'll be okay. And so like watching you both at EWA and SWA do it, I was like, damn, that is the way I want to carry myself in the ring as a professional when we're in a match.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that. It really, that is a big. I mean, like, not in like an egotistical way, but that's a big point of pride for me because there's a lot of history of people being nasty to each other in the wrestling business, and it doesn't have to be like that. It's not helpful or healthy for anyone to live that way. So I really try to like be the change that I want to see, and like I know how it feels to have somebody be mean to you for your first match and like try to beat you up and not want to do anything with you, and go home in tears and stuff. And I don't want anyone to have to feel like that over something that they love to do.
Yeah, it was something that like I was lucky enough that my first couple matches I never had to experience something like that. I've had situations where like I had to question myself whether I really was meant for the business or not. But I've also had like great mentors come through and just sit with me and talk with me about like, hey, like, yeah, you messed up here, you messed up there. Don't worry about it. Just relax, breathe, and let's get you pushing here. Let's get you pushing there. Let's get to doing this, get doing that. And then they start teaching you like how to fix those things. And it's really a blast to like be a part of those kind of scenarios. And like, when I watched you and Taylor in the ring at SWA, because Taylor, like, she comes from the same school that I'm at. She with Nick, right? And I helped train her. And so
Yeah.
to see her in the ring and then get to see you kind of like educate her and talk to her back through it, I was like, oh, okay, that's how you got to do this, this, and this. And like, I actually had a practice match with her on a past Sunday. Don't worry about which Sunday it was, guys who are watching this. But I learned a lot just because I wasn't doing the things that I needed to do, and I had to go back and so I recorded all the matches at SWA, and I actually went back and watched your match, and I was just watching your match and watching you work through it, and just like telling her like, hey, here's what I want you to do, here's where I want you to get this, here's where I want you to get that, and I was like, damn, I need to start doing that kind of stuff more.
Yeah. I mean, learning how to like feel like getting to the point where you're comfortable enough to talk to somebody in the ring and guide them and like get them in the right spot definitely takes time, and I don't think people realize that because first you have to like get yourself comfortable enough to the point where you're like, all right, like I feel like I have this under control and I know like no matter what happens I'm gonna be able to recover and get this back on the right track.
Yeah, and it's a testament to you because like you're able to help like slow things down and then move it bit by bit. And so when I was watching back, like I remember like I couldn't hear it on the film, but I remember listening to it live, and I was like, oh, that's where she said to do this. Oh, that's where she said to do that. And I was like, dang. And it reminds me that regardless of like how long you've been in the business, like you should constantly be communicating with the other person instead of just like trying to like remember everything. You should be talking the match out. So like I guess like I'm gonna start looking for more tips and tricks on like how to do that better, because like I know like Shawn Michaels was like chewing gum the whole time when he was like in matches, and that's how he was able to like direct his guys. So I'm like, maybe there's something that I could maybe not chew gum because I'm afraid I might swallow it.
Yeah, I'm totally afraid that I would swallow the gum. I would definitely swallow the gum.
But a question I want to ask though is for those who don't know who you are, how did you get into the business?
All right, so I started wrestling in 2012. I went to school to be an art teacher, and I couldn't find a full-time job. And like you spend your whole life as a student, and you're like, all right, like I don't know what the next step is. Like I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing, and so you kind of have to like let loose and like find some new aspects about yourself. And I had been interested in wrestling. Well, I was a huge fan. Like I was obsessed with wrestling actually, and I never saw myself as an athlete. But I kind of like wound up on a path to like, I don't know, things kept inspiring me to like possibly do it. And I had gone to like one school and I got kind of like weird vibes and decided not to go there. And then I got invited to go see a Chikara show. And that was the first like independent show that I ever went to. And that was a really inspiring moment. And then one of my friends at the local hipster bar had started training at a school in York, and I was like, all right, like this is my sign, like I'm gonna do it. So I signed up having absolutely no idea how to be a wrestler, do any moves, really like no athletic background, and I would, I was like spraining my ankle running the ropes and stuff, so it was long, hard road for me.
That is insane. Like I understand like the aspect because like what people don't realize is like even if you're still like in a ring running, like those mats, some mats are like just really, really soft, right? And it's so easy to like lose your balance. So like constantly having to work on your footing to understand like how to balance yourself perfectly, like it's still a challenge no matter how athletic you are.
Right, yeah. I mean, I don't know how tightly that canvas was tied down back then, so it could have just been a loose canvas. I don't know, but I know that I am a lot more coordinated than I used to be.
That's good. That's how it's supposed to be. You're supposed to be like as you get in this longer and you're doing it like the more, you get more comfortable in different rings and stuff like that. I know. I worked a show with Sicken and I hit moonsaults like off the second rope like all the time, right? But
Yeah.
at this one particular place, I went to go do a moonsault and like the middle rope, like when I hit it initially, it felt okay, and then when I went to go do the moonsault, it was loose, and so I had to like learn how to three quarter like right over my shoulder, so like it looked like Vader's backflip instead of like a normal moonsault. And it was like I'm so grateful I did it. And even to this day, like Sicken will tell me, he's like, I don't know how you did that. He's like, cause he's like, I wouldn't have been able to.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
I guess
death spiral
you
almost
got some
happened.
good reflexes. I'm glad you survived. Yeah. I mean, there's so many different rings. Ropes are different heights and widths apart, different sizes, and sometimes it makes a big difference.
That is the one thing that like I've come to find out, and I was told this initially too, so I kind of already knew what to expect, but to have it really come to fruition was definitely different. But it was that every ring bounces different, and every ring's ropes feel different. So you always want to make it a point to like ask questions like, "Hey, is it cool if I hop in the ring real quick to just kind of test some things out?" And then from
Yeah.
there, like then from there, obviously you're gonna have to adjust your game based on whatever the ring ropes are feeling like. I know I went to like one place where like the top rope was like just a hair shorter than what like I was normally hitting. So when I hit it the first time, like my neck went back and I like almost like fell out of the ring. And then they were like, yeah, in this ring you have to kind of like buckle your knees a little bit to hit the ropes right. Otherwise you're gonna just like give yourself whiplash. And I was like, thanks for telling me now.
You don't say.
It's like, yeah, and like grabbing the back of my neck. I was like, yeah, I think I just broke my C1, bro. Like just hitting these ropes.
Oh my gosh.
But
Yeah.
speaking of doing bad things, what's the worst bump you've taken?
The worst bump. Um, like I early on when I was a manager, very early on in my wrestling career, I did take some sort of something outside of the ring and I took a bump on the concrete. And I don't remember it hurting at all, but like I'm sure that I was running on adrenaline and I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I really knew how to like take a full force snap bump properly yet at that
Mm.
time, but I did take a concrete bump once. Yep.
Yeah, that's a thing that like I feel like that's like becoming a common story like on the 3 Count podcast, like a lot of people have been telling me they've taken some sort of variation of a bump on concrete, whether it's like a German suplex or somebody got power bombed one time on
Oh my
on
god.
yeah. I was like, yo, that's just intense. Like that's not my type of thing ever.
Yeah, I think this was probably like a clothesline or a spear or something like that. It wasn't anything like it was my own bump, but yeah.
Hmm. So one of my other things I like to ask a lot of people too is like, what's one of the hardest lessons that you've had to learn being in the business?
Oh man. That's, I mean, you never stop learning lessons, but I think like the hardest lesson for me has been self-confidence. Like believing in myself and knowing that it's okay to speak up for myself when I know that I am right about something. And it doesn't have to be about being right, you know, but like being confident in my abilities and not like holding myself back for other people. And that is something that
I
I
like that.
struggle with to this day. Because
I like that though. I like that. You bring up a good point. I want to let you continue. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you though, but you bring up a great point about self confidence.
thank you. Yeah, I mean, I want to be humble and like, I know that there's, you know, like everyone's point is valid and everyone should be able to contribute to the match. But like, you know, there's a point where you have to be confident to know like what you're saying is right and it's for the good of the match and it's gonna make the story better and get the audience invested more, or you know, it's like not feeling like I have to dull myself down
No,
because wrestling is for showing off. That's literally what
I
it is.
I love we got hit back on multiple points. So you bring up a great example of like self confidence, right? Because like as you've been in the business for a little bit, and you kind of like understand that like, hey, like I've been around the block a time or two to kind of understand like how the crowd feels, or how this is gonna feel, how that's gonna go, or how we want to put this into storytelling. Like you already understand like how that all works, and like for me, one thing like a couple years ago, like I used to wrestle without a shirt on like everywhere, right? And then like it got brought up to me that like I need to like start thinking about wearing a shirt because like at the time I was like about like 210. I was kind of, and I wasn't like as in shape as I like wanted to be, but I was just kind of like trying to get there. And someone told me that I needed to wear a shirt. So like I started like actively wearing shirts more and more often, and to the point where it just became like so comfortable up until like just like a couple like last month actually. I finally decided that I was like, you know, I want to wrestle without a shirt on. I'm gonna try it out for the first time, and I did, and like I was like, oh man, and a lot of people were like, dude, like why are you wrestling with a shirt on? Like you need to take that thing off and like let people. And it started finally building. I finally had enough confidence in myself to be like, hey, I'm gonna go do this finally, and like I did, and I was happy with where I was finally, and like being who I was and where I wanted to be. And it's like now I have this attitude of like, all right, now I got ideas of like how I want to play off like the the attire that I wear and like how I want it to all like work out. And it's a crazy journey to be on to like build that confidence up and to like know like, hey, all right, so now I'm here at this level of feeling confident, and now I just want the rest of the confidence to build on top of where I'm at now.
Yeah, yeah, it's so important, and I'm so happy for you that you got to that point. That's awesome. No.
Yeah, it's been a bit. It's been a while. But then now like everybody's like, I want you to grow your beard out. I was like, I don't want to grow my beard out all the time.
Yeah.
Now it's like, all
Well,
right, we have all this stuff going on.
yeah. Well, you can't make everybody happy, but you can make yourself happy.
It's 100%. And
Yeah.
you talk about this too. Like wrestling is like it's your time to shine. Like you are like when you're in the ring, like you are the center of attention. And I couldn't think of a better way to like bring that up than like to talk about that. Because like you I mean listen, like there's a bunch of people they paid to watch a bunch of wrestling matches and one of those matches is yours. So like you get to show off and show like how creative you get to be in the ring with another person. And I think that's such a fun way to look at this crazy world that we're in. And like now that you've got me thinking about it, I'm like, bro, like I wanna start showing off like my creativity of like how my character is perceived in the ring and out of the ring. So now I'm like, I'm gonna have to start building more stuff around my character that like make it more fun for like the audience to enjoy.
Yes, and that's what takes you to the next level now. Like look at the most popular indie shows, like the people who are the most over, who are getting signed and stuff, are the people with the biggest characters who have unique ways of expressing who they are in the ring without words and in promos with words.
It's funny because like
No.
last year I got to thinking about doing something that was kind of different for like Red Dog as a character. And so I started doing what was called Red Dog's Thought of the Day. And like it started off as just kind of like, I don't know, let me just find like random ass quotes and shit to say and just see how this takes off. And to hear people like come to me at different wrestling shows now and be like, "Hey, Red Dog, what's your thought of the day?" And I'm like, "Oh my god! Like you watch all the stuff that I'm putting out there right now. Like, well, here's a Red Dog's thought of the day." It's been a lot of fun to be able to do something like that and watch people react to it.
That's awesome. It is exciting sometimes when you put stuff out there and you have no idea. Like, you're like, probably no one is even watching this, but I'm just gonna go out there and have some fun. And like, people catch on to things and are receptive and will like come talk to you after the show and like, like the educated, which like most fans are educated about wrestling. Like, they'll be like, oh, like, somebody told me they really liked my act and my character and stuff, and I was like, wow, thank you, I appreciate that. Like, I've been working really hard to like develop these characters over time and like be different, and even just like two people at a show telling you that, like, you know makes it all
No,
worth it, brother.
I love it. Hey, what another question I like asking.
I've been driving all day.
Yeah, so and for those who are
I've been
wondering how
Yeah.
come like for those who are and that if you made it if you're here right you're wondering Ashley's actually driving to a show right now and so like talk about like putting in hours. Did you say it was like a 7 hour drive that you have going on today?
Today, well, I am cosplaying as Darkwing Duck, and I'm also driving to a wrestling show in Maine. But tonight I am staying in New Hampshire, so I'm knocking out 7 of the almost 11 hours today. Otherwise,
Dang,
I would have had to leave my house. I don't even want to think about it. So, yeah.
it's so weird because people who watch every episode, if you watched if you watched the last episode, you would have seen me reference Darkwing Duck on that episode
Are you
before I ever
serious?
jumped on. Yeah, I'm not even kidding. I'll tell you about it. I'll
That's
tell you about it.
amazing. Darkwing Duck is
But
awesome. I used to have
Darkwing
this
Duck is
earring
my
Darkwing Duck
favorite
t-shirt.
cartoon.
It was a good one. Dude, Disney Plus has everything. It's so
Oh
good.
yeah, yeah. DW
I'm
is like
sorry.
one of my favorite theme songs, like hands down of like all time.
When there's trouble, you call DW.
Let's get dangerous.
Yes!
Hey, so
You should yell that when you do your fire up. You
oh,
should.
hey, I there's been like different times where I've thought about doing things where it's like as like I get started in a match, and like right when the bell rings, I yell out like maximum effort, just like Deadpool, or like something
Yeah.
equated to that, or maybe even just like find like synonyms randomly to put them together so it sounds like maximum effort, even though it's really not. But yeah, I think doing a power up now, like hit someone with a spine buster and just be like, let's get dangerous. I think
Yeah.
I think people would pop. I think people will pop for it.
Yeah. I think so.
So another question I like asking people whenever I get a chance to. You've been in a lot of different locker rooms. You're clearly traveling to different states. So I need to know one do and one don't of the locker room.
Um, one do and one don't. Do always wash your gear, because when somebody has a smelly gear bag, like, it's not good. It's not good. I don't mean to sound like a snoot, but like, it, if it's a really hot day in a really tiny locker room, it's not good.
Yeah.
And don't. This is just a personal one for me because I'm working on asserting boundaries. But like, if you don't know someone, don't pressure them into like an awkward hug,
Mm,
because some people have been through things and they don't really want to be touched by strangers for long periods of time. And it's nothing personal. It's just like, be aware that some people don't want to be touched like that.
true. Very true. I like that. I like both of them. And you should just know,
Thank
like,
you.
sometimes, like, just keep your hands to yourself. Like, you don't have to
Yeah,
be. Yeah. Sometimes the fist bump works just as well as like giving somebody a hug.
yeah, totally. A fist bump or even just a wave hello is perfectly acceptable.
Or I just look at everybody. Like, I'll try to see as many people, and I'll try to say hi to everybody and try to go shake hands. But if I see you like clear across the locker room, I'm not gonna walk all the way through everybody else's stuff just to go shake your hand. I might be like, hey, like wave frantically, like an immature like 5-year old, and just do that thing. But at least I'm gonna wave at you.
Yeah, yeah, totally. I think that that is a perfectly healthy and acceptable way to greet people, especially with our new diseases that we have. Some people still have their own boundaries about that, and that is okay. So, you know,
100%.
kind of,
I welcome hugs. If people want to hug me, I welcome in.
yeah. I mean, there are definitely people that I hug, and we can work up to a hug, but like, you know, sometimes when I don't know you, it's just a little too much for me, and that's all.
Yeah, I'm just like, all right. Like I'll see people and I'll be like, fist bump.
Yep.
Yo, so let's get into my favorite part of the Three Count podcast, right? Ms. Ashley, this is the Three Count podcast presents the 10 count questions, and this is how it works. I'm gonna fire off 10 questions at you rapid fast, and whatever your answer is, that's your answer.
Okay. Oh
So
my
we're gonna put
gosh.
on the so we're gonna put on the imaginary timer for added pressure. Bing! And in the words of Mike Goldberg, here we go. SmackDown or Raw?
I'm gonna go SmackDown because that's the first one I saw.
Favorite movie?
Beetlejuice.
Hey, I like that call though. I
There's like a
really
list.
do.
There's like five, so I had to pick one really quick.
I like that. Marvel or DC?
Marvel.
Okay. Favorite actor
Favorite actor. Oh,
or actress?
Nicole Kidman.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Uh, favorite pose? Child's pose or tree pose?
Oh, they're both so good. Dang. I'm feeling childs today.
Okay. Favorite cartoon?
Oh man. Oh, there's so many good ones. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. This is taking me forever. I'll just
That
say
just
Bob's
means that
Burgers. Bob's Burgers is a
okay,
classic.
that's a good one. Apple or Android?
Apple.
Nice. Favorite podcast?
Um, all my favorite podcasts go away. I'm gonna have to go with The Art of Wrestling. That was the only podcast for a very long time to me.
Okay, I like
And
that.
Three Count. Yep.
Right. We right there. We right there. We take like, listen, 3 years now, 4 years running in doing this. Like, hey, we've been around.
Yeah, that's good.
Nominate one person that you want to see on this podcast.
Common MK, baby.
Yes, 100% yes. I gotta reach out to him.
Yes.
And last but not least, my favorite question to ask every single person that comes on this show: favorite curse word.
Favorite curse word. Favorite curse word. Can it be a phrase?
Sure,
Like son of a beech tree?
I like it. 100%, I love it.
Or Merry Christmas?
It's funny. It was funny. So like the other day, we were training and we were telling our guys like, hey, take these bumps and then like sell the bump like obviously sell the bump like hers, right? But then like don't use a curse word to sell the bump. Use something else, right? Use some other kind of phrase. And I give an example. So I hit the mat and I come back. I was like, son of a brachiosaurus. Like
Ooh, that's better than beech tree.
yeah.
That's
I was like, yes, that's
the win.
I was like 100% from the Flintstones movie. I was like, it's a straight pull.
Oh my gosh, I haven't watched that movie in so long. That's probably worth a rewatch.
Yeah, it's definitely. I have to go back and rewatch it because I'm sure that John Goodman is doing stellar things on that movie, and I have to go back and rewatch just like the character side of things because it's got to be great.
It has to be. Oh my gosh.
So all I need from you is because those are all my questions I do like to ask. All I need from you is to let our listeners and our viewers know where they can find you.
All right. I have Facebook. I have a like page, which is All Natural Ashley, and then my Facebook page is Ashley a Wrestler. My Twitter is All Natural Ashley. My Instagram is at All Natural Ashley Wrestling, and that's probably about it.
Bet. Well, she gave you all of her wrestling handles. She told you where you can find her, and then more importantly, you guys have had a lot of fun listening to this episode. So, like every good part of a wrestling match, we gotta take it home. Because this is the 3 Count Podcast presents Now Into Ring, and I'm your host, Clifford Red Dog Miller, the man that leads you up this mountain called wrestling. But like every good Sherpa, which I like to think I am, it's never about me. It's about who's into the ring. So who's into the ring? You see her right there. It is All Natural Ashley. She's right there. And you guys know what to do. Tune in to the next episode and be there. Or you're really just following us on all of our social media platforms. You're following us on Spotify. You're leaving us those 5-star Frost reviews. You even subscribe to our YouTube channel. You're liking all of our stuff. You're leaving comments. You're even buying our merch on ProWrestlingTees.com or on ForYourWear.com. You're doing all those things. You're telling your friends about us, and then you're, sharing your content with all the people either you like or you don't like, because we like those guys too. But anyway, you're doing all that kind of stuff, or you're really just kind of waiting for this episode to end. You're waiting for that outro, and you're choosing another episode to listen to. Let's get dangerous. Peace.
Duckweek. We did it.
We did it.
That was fun. Thank you. You gotta
Oh,
give
hell
me
yeah. What's going on, 3 Count Nation? I'm Clifford Red Dog Miller with the catchphrase. But what I really want you to do right now, go to twitter.com, right? Go over there, find us at the 3count_pod, give us a follow, give us a like, give us a comment. We want to talk to you guys. Go to IG at the 3Count Pod. Give us a like, give us a follow, leave us a comment. We want to interact with you. Go to youtube.com, give a subscribe, turn the bell on, turn the notifications, leave a comment. We want to talk to you. Go to anchor.fm/the 3Count Podcast, and in there, you can leave us a message, and we will talk to you. Basically, what I'm trying to tell you is that we want to talk to you. We want to have fun with you guys, and we love listening to what you guys have to say. Also, one thing I need you to do for me, the 3Count Podcast also has merchandise. Oh! At ProWrestlingTees.com/the 3Count Pod. Please go buy our t-shirts. We love you guys, and we hope you love us too. So, show us some support, please.